Hello, and welcome to What the Bleep Are You Watching? A podcast where we watch something and tell you why the bleep we watched it. I am Shatner Sean, this is Terror Thomas, and there's a Mason on the wing. And we watched...
You unlock this door with the key of imagination. Beyond it is another dimension. A dimension of sound. A dimension of sight. A dimension of mind. You're moving into a land of both shadow and substance, of things and ideas. You've just crossed over into the Twilight Zone.
The Twilight Zone. Nightmare at 20,000 feet.
Nightmare at 20,000 feet.
Folks, we've only really kind of started the Halloween watching stuff that we're doing, I would say. And so far, this is far and away the scariest thing we have watched
Up until this point, a lot of our early stuff has been specials.
Yeah, it's been specials. It's been like cute little stuff.
Yeah, things
like
things doing Halloween specials.
This and fucking Raggedy Ann are not exactly on the same level of what you're trying to do.
And it's also kind of funny that, peek behind the curtain, we're recording this the same day as we did Treehouse of Horror, which a later Treehouse of Horror would parody this Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah.
But this is, so far, by far, the scariest thing we have seen, and it is over 60 years old. And it is still scary. It is
very, very effective. Even if because
it's almost like the Twilight Zone is one of the greatest pieces of fiction ever made.
It lives
into
one of the
greatest pieces of television ever made.
It puts into things that no matter the passage of time or how much they're still scared. Everyone is a little bit scared of flying.
Yeah.
Everyone is a little bit scared of heights.
You have those.
Everyone is a little bit scared of a gremlin sitting out there and sabotaging things. You don't want to admit it, but you're always you're never sure there might be a gremlin outside your window sabotaging something. You don't even have to be in the sky. You can be in your bed. They might be outside your window sabotaging your house.
I live with that gremlin. It's my cat. Anyway.
So yeah, this was my suggestion. As you probably tell from the fact that when you listen to the Simpsons episodes, I bring up Twilight Zone like 3 times. I really like the Twilight Zone. I wasn't joking. I think it is genuinely one of the best pieces of fiction ever made. That may be hyperbolic, but I don't give a fuck.
And at this point,
just in terms of influence, in terms of just lasting power.
Oh yeah. And at the same point in time, we're in an era of television and radio that things like this hit people, and they were lasting. This is the 5th season of the Twilight Zone, episode 3, and by this point, the amount of famous people that were on the Twilight Zone is quite large. But this is where, this season they have a lot, because this is the season where we got Shatner in this episode, and Richard Donner directed 6 episodes in this season, and this is the first of them. Yeah. So,
yeah, which was really interesting to me. I didn't realize that he had. That his career had started that early.
Donner is honestly, I think he was more of a horror director before he did Superman. I could be wrong. But
you can see that in a lot of his elements and a lot of different things they do, the way he shoots things. It's definitely nothing about Superman the movie is horror aesthetic necessarily, but you can definitely see that someone who maybe has those roots.
In the way he shoots them. Because he did something else. He did a really big horror movie, and I forget which one.
Well,
I think, did he do The Omen?
That sounds right. Yes, The Omen.
Okay, I thought it was The Omen.
Yeah, right before Superman. That was his movie before Superman.
Yeah. So
his debut was a aviation drama. So he knew planes.
Wow.
It was before this. His debut was.
There you go. It's combining his things. So I suggested this because I've talked before about how there's some stuff I don't want to cover because it's too popular. Like, what else would we add? Like, some of my favorite films of all time, I don't really want to cover on here, because what would we add? This is an exception, because one, it's Halloween season, it's the spooky time, so I really wanted to cover a Twilight Zone episode, and this just seemed like the best one. 2, because it's really interesting to go back and see the progenitor of so many parodies. Even if you've never seen this episode, even if you've never heard of the Twilight Zone, you've watched something that's parodied this episode.
Oh, very much. It's all across media. It is a humongous impact. In a lot of ways, I don't want to say, because there's a lot of them, but this feels like the biggest impact Twilight Zone episode just on everything.
Yeah. In terms of, like, impact to pop culture.
Of pop culture. Again, like, there are so many episodes of the Twilight Zone that that have humongous, impact on film, on the industry, on television, on this. But this is the one that affected, like, pop culture. Like, it was, because I think it leaned into the insanity, which is easier to parody. So as you parody, it infiltrates its way into pop culture.
Yeah.
And I think part of, like, the staying power it has is it kind of going off of what you said earlier, and this might be too early to say this, but I'm going to bring it up anyways, that it plays into a very real fear in kind of a little bit of a silly way, like an out there way, like anyone fly, like that, like, physically that this is impossible, that it couldn't happen, but it still plays into that, like, fear of, like, heights and flying that a lot of people have.
All of the great horror things start with the idea of just a fear and playing up that fear. And if and again, that just is how you start. You start with, okay, what is a fear? Let's do it. I'll use an example, the movie The Strangers. That's just the fear of being home alone and somebody invading your house. That's all it is, and it just plays that up.
There's a primal fear. Even the old Universal monsters are the fear of someone being after you or someone being alone.
And something dead coming alive.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
So it's interesting that this covers the instinctual, primal fear of flying, of heights.
Flying.
Which I know people like to say, flying is actually the safest form of travel if you go by statistics or whatever.
All right, Superman.
Fuck you. Flying is scary. Like, when you...
Depends on what airline you're riding these days as well.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's basically like, everybody I think has that fear of flying. Like, some people don't, obviously, but a lot of people, when you get on a plane, even if you are totally comfortable, like, I've been on planes before, I'm not, like, super scared of them, but whenever I take off, I land, I get that little lurch in my stomach.
Mm-hmm. There is in the back of your mind a little bit like, okay, I know it's going to be safe, but what if? But what if?
And
what if we're the plane that crashes in the ocean? What if we're the plane that
What if we recreate Lost? I can't live with any more unanswered questions.
I don't have a volleyball. I can't be Tom Hanks.
And so another reason I wanted to talk about this is because for a while I was thinking about doing a little special "What the Bleep Are You Watching" episode comparing this with the version from the 1980-something movie. Mm-hmm. I didn't feel like doing that because I didn't want to make these guys watch a section of a movie for this. Mm-hmm. I kind of just wanted to do the episode. 83, yeah. And short and to the point, I personally think that this version does every single thing better except the Gremlin. I think the Gremlin looks better in the 80s, and what a shock. That's 20 years of practical effects development and more of a budget.
You're saying a movie Gremlin looks better than the 1960s TV show Gremlin?
I know, what a fucking shock. But overall, there's not really a lot to compare, I personally. Mm-hmm. Again, maybe I'll make these guys watch the version one day, just so I can get their thoughts, but again, in my opinion, this version does basically everything better.
And instead, we've got that version. We've always got the movie version, which changes some things up, and I think in some elements follows the short story, and some elements changes it.
Yeah.
And then the 2019 version removes the Gremlin.
Yeah.
So,
which
is interesting. I don't know how they do that.
I have never seen the 2019 version because
look, we may one day cover it. That may be when we watch it.
I might watch that one on my own time.
Fair enough. Mason will report to us, and if later in this month we're covering the 2019 version, it's because Mason watched it and said, we need to do that.
or he just puts in the group chat, that was mad as shit.
Mason says, this is dog shit. We're doing that.
Ah, fuck.
Because that's what Mason does.
I have thoughts.
But it is iconic. It is iconic. filled with stars and directors, and everything. And Twilight Zone is a thing that impacted everything from sci-fi to horror to drama to everything. Twilight Zone impacted television in crazy ways. And so it was fun that we're going to sit down and we're going to talk about this one.
Yep. Stars William Shatner. Like I said, this was William Shatner's one of his first breakout roles.
Yes.
Before T.J. Hooker, before even Star Trek, this was William Shatner, one of his first breakout roles. And he's playing Bob.
Bob, which I said while watching it, it's weird because it's like, yeah, his name is literally Bill, but also Bob feels weird.
We get this opening establishing thing of him getting onto the plane and stuff, and they instantly like interject something that makes this so much more interesting. Like it could have just been on its own the story that plays out and it would have been fine, but they interject the thing about him like having a nervous breakdown previously. And
they add stuff to it, yeah.
On
like,
a plane.
institutionalized for like 6 months, and it was on a plane.
One of the things that's
this is the first time I've seen Mason watch something from the 60s, and he actually like leaned up, like, "Oh, this is interesting."
Yeah, that was really interesting because it's like, it lends more to like, why they wouldn't believe him.
There's a very Hitchcock element to Twilight Zone, and especially something like this, like that takes. And one thing that Hitchcock was always great at is a simple idea, introducing something a little more complex into it. It still stays simple, and then just tells the story with great acting and great, great writing.
And look, we could make fun of William Shatner for days. We have
He's
made fun of
shat-tastic.
we have made fun of William Shatner for days, and we'll continue to because he's an easy target.
He is, and he's been a good actor a lot of his life.
I was gonna say, but also when he hits really well, and this is one of his best performances.
Yeah, that was a surprising. There was a few surprising revelations for me for that. First, that like, William Shatner can act. Then I was like, wait, William Shatner had hair. And then I was like, wait a minute, William Shatner was handsome?
Seeing Mason react
Now you're fucking with me.
Mason's whole worldview was like, I've only known him as a 70-year-old plus man.
Pretty much.
I was gonna say, I'm assuming that's not a joke.
No, that's right, yeah.
No, I've only ever known him as old Shatner, so...
It's like, what do you mean? Oh no, he's hot!
Mason went through some emotions while...
what do you mean William Shatner was young once? It's like...
we'll get into the Shatner, but let's dive into this. As Mason has kind of teased some of the openings. So
Mason already brought up the opening.
The opening, we board the plane, we get some Shatner. He immediately sits at his seat, which has an emergency window, which leads him to kind of... His wife's like, we can move. Yeah. He's like, no, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Is this Chekhov's emergency door?
Pretty much, actually. But an interesting change from the original story. He has a wife.
Yeah.
In the original story that this is based on, he was alone.
Which the
84, 83. I don't know why I always want to say 84. The 83 movie did copy. John Lithgow, who plays the character in that, is alone.
I personally, without seeing the other one, I personally think the wife enhances it.
I agree. That's one of the reasons I like this movie.
I think it adds to, because it allows somebody, quote unquote, normal to be there, like that wants to trust him. It adds a trusting
someone that's normal and not looking like, you're crazy, you dumb motherfucker.
Knows him, and because that the whole dialogue at the beginning when he talks about, I'm cured, I'm a cured man, and she's like, yeah, you are. I'm sorry. He's like, I'm sorry. The last 6 months have been really hard, and I can't imagine what they've been through for you. I can't believe, I'm sorry what I did, but I'm cured, and I'm a little nervous, but this is just a flight. We're gonna get through it.
I do think it works really well for this. I can see how it can be done in both ways.
Mm-hmm.
I can see how like they have the flight attendant character in this. I can see how that could kind of be the sub for like the wife.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I don't know if it hits the same, but I can see it being.
I agree. Again, when I say that this version's better in almost every way, that doesn't mean the other version's bad. It's just being compared to one of the most iconic pieces of television, arguably ever.
The humanity that we get through someone's loved one initially, because one of the reasons people talk about not enjoying flying, because you're sitting by some bum-ass stranger. Mm-hmm. And that,
Yeah, this was missing the bit where Shatner's just getting his seat kicked by a toddler.
Yeah, there's that element of, like, you're with
It's the 60s, son.
You're with someone who is supposed to love you. That's his wife. That's the person who loves him. They've been through a lot and a lot of challenges, and I think that enhances this for me. Not saying you can't, but I think it very much enhances the strain that Bob has. Mm-hmm. Because, like, oh no, I don't want to go through this again. Oh no, I don't want to put her through this again.
Which is one of the strong bits. Bob and his wife do love each other. Mm. It's kind of nice to see a horror thing where the couple actually gets along.
Yeah. The plane is getting ready to take off, the cabin door is secured, and then the opening narration starts. And I'm just going to read the opening narration because it sums it up perfectly. Because
Rod Serling's the man.
So good. Portrait of a frightened man. Mr. Robert Wilson, 37, husband, father, and salesman on sick leave. Mr. Wilson has just been discharged from a sanatorium, where he spent the last 6 months recovering from a nervous breakdown, the onset of which took place on an evening not dissimilar to this one, on an airliner, very much like the one in which Mr. Wilson is about to be flown home. The difference being that on that evening, half a year ago, Mr. Wilson's flight was terminated by the onslaught of his mental breakdown. Tonight, he's traveling all the way to his appointed destination, which, contrary to Mr. Wilson's plan, happens to be in the darkest corner of the Twilight Zone. There's something, just from the beginning of the narration, it gives us a little more information to, what he's already said, but it gives us a very important little detail that I think makes it. It says from the beginning, he's going to reach his destination. Mm-hmm. And that is a really cool, I think it's like, you want to get rid of, we're going to get from point A to point B.
But is point B going to be where he wants to go?
Exactly, and it's where Twilight Zone is so effective of they tell you exactly what's going to happen. But
and they give you they don't spell out they give you the correct amount of information and then kind of let your imagination sort of fill in the blanks, because all they say in that is he had a nervous breakdown. It resulted in the termination of his flight. They don't give any details about what happened and how bad it was, so it lets your mind run wild, what happened that time, what especially what were you gonna say?
I was just going to say, especially because, remember, this is 1963 or 4 or something like that. This is pre-9/11
Yes,
America.
pre-9/11. So it's what did he do that was so bad they had to cancel the flight? It lets your mind run wild with speculation.
We know also it's the 60s because he tries to smoke early on as well on the plane.
There's a sign that says no smoking on the plane, which I don't think they have that anymore.
Yeah, they do. They have, no smoking.
Yeah, but it was very, very funny. It's can't smoke.
It does remind me of
I brought it up. In earlier Twilight Zone episodes, Rod Serling would literally peddle cigarettes at the end of the ads. So it's the 60s where lung cancer was just accepted.
Well, you know what? That'll be good. You don't need your lungs.
Reminds me of a stand-up bit where this guy, he's on a Southwest Airlines flight, and he's talking about the flight attendant doing the speech at the beginning, and she's like, if anybody wants to have a cigarette, anyone wants to have a cigarette, you go out onto the wing. If you can light it, you can smoke it. It's very funny.
Well, Bob, he's a little nervous. His wife is taking a sleeping, is gonna nap, and she's like, well, you need a sleeping pill, and he's like, yeah, okay.
He takes a sleeping pill. Me. Is that a gremlin?
Yep. And the effectiveness of this first initial is because there's a storm, and so they can, and again, they can hide with the rain coming down. They can hide, and you could just kind of a shadow. It could be just the rain playing tricks on you. It could be just the sleeping pill. And as it gets a little closer, and a little closer, you realize, oh no, that's an actual thing.
Yeah.
It's a guy in a Grinch costume with a fish face.
And everyone's made fun of the Gremlins design. I know it's the 60s, but even as a defender of the show, I'm like, that design's not
the design's awful.
But if I'm 20,000 feet up in the air and I see anything on the motherfucking wing, it could look like fucking My Little Pony Care Bears bullshit, the sweetest thing I've ever seen, and I'm still gonna shit my fucking pants.
Exactly.
It's one of, again, I am a 60s Star Trek fan. So there's a lot of bad makeup, they find random things. They're like, yep.
Can't wait till Sean makes us watch the Gorn episode.
There's an episode in like the mid-20s of Star Trek where there's a thing called the Horta, and it's just a thing that eats through rock, basically. And it's a whole thing about, life and mining and all this sort of thing. But basically what it is you think of the ugliest rug that your grandmother owned. The ugliest rug. That's what they did. They just threw it on it and just had something that moved around with a rug over it. That's what it looks like.
That's funny.
That's
really
And again,
funny.
So again,
I get it. I'm also a 60s Star Trek fan, so when I'm making fun, it's out of love.
And again,
I don't care. It's
in the time, but also, even though we're not seeing it still is effective. And I think that's the thing.
God.
It's like, yeah, we can make fun of the look and say, oh yeah, that gremlin is...
He's a green monkey man.
That's a decision they made. But
Fish face.
it doesn't take away how effective the weird, creepy, stupid-looking thing is at being actually terrifying.
Oh, yeah.
And again, I make fun of it, but when it first appears and it's in the shadows walking towards you, you are kind of like, what the fuck is that?
What is that? And then he closed the blinds. Okay, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm not fine.
He gets a flight attendant to come over. He's like, "Can I get a glass of water, please?" And it's like, "Oh, thank you." He takes the water. His wife's like, "Oh, I'm going back to sleep, honey. Are you okay?" "Yes, I'm fine." And we get this really great bit of just, again, Hitchcockian, just that little winding piano wire. Like, you never know when it's going to snap. Or winding guitar string.
And
you never know when it's going to snap.
Something that's really effective in this film, and especially at this point, is anytime he's looking at the gremlin and he's looking out, the camera is usually lower. It's usually lower, either looking up at him or close to, like, a lower level. Anytime that he's talking to a human, it's higher. Sometimes looking down, sometimes just at eye level. And it's looking down. And the effect on that is the lower is like kind of the creepy atmosphere, but it feels real. The higher is looking directly into his eyes and giving some of the crazy feel that makes you go, he's insane. And the effective use of camera work in this is astounding. Weird. Richard Donner and the Twilight Zone did good camera work?
Richard Donner's a good director?
What?
Oh,
no
shit.
way. But it's so effective in the same way that... And I'm not... This is not even going to be a thing on modern stuff or anything like that, but like how important camera work is to telling the emotion with, soundtrack's important, your act's important, but the camera work is also very, very important. And something that, we've mentioned a lot, that Hitchcock understood better than almost anyone at the time was how a shot to convey an emotion.
Absolutely.
And there are a lot of times when it's like, oh, because they put that there, you were like, oh, he's insane. But maybe he isn't, because they're playing that, is it real? Is it not? Is it real? Is it not? Is it real? Is it not? I don't know. And when he opens the blinds, despite knowing what's coming on, I actually jumped, because like the thing is, he's pressed up at the end of this window being like, give me a kiss.
Yeah, I was going to make that joke.
Shatner's like, no.
I'm still 3 years from making out with weird aliens.
I was going to say, I'm still 3 years from being into green bitches.
Which then leads to, like, we see all that it leads to one of the actually effective, but something that for the 60s that you had to do, was that when he's right at the window, he turns to wake his wife up. Or is it wake his wife up, or is it
he's pressing the shit out of the emergency call button.
Yeah, it's the service.
Because
he does that, but as he turns around, we see the gremlin stand up and leave, like climb over, he's climbing over the window, which I think was 60s, just like we need to get him out of the shot quickly, things like that. And a lot of other things would do like that. He's there, he's not. But by doing that, it enhances the feeling of it's real. But also, as it leads away, like, making sure that nobody sees it, to drive it, is he maybe insane? It's such a cool thing that it adds to it. That, like, that element of it, you watching it leave, he doesn't see it leave, you, the audience, see it leave. It's an effective use of, at the time, of something that was probably just because we need to get him out of the shot. And a lot of things that actually they are able to use to enhance it that wouldn't be in modern stuff at all.
I think it lends personally to me. I think it lends more to that it is real for me. Because if it just cut back to him and he wasn't there, that would have been like, oh, maybe it is still in his head. But the fact that we see it moving away every time,
it leads to like.
It shows that I think that builds more to like, oh, it is real.
Which is an element
I think
of...
is I think it's really important to do that.
Yes.
Because I think the episode would still be like a little it would still be like a little tense, but it would definitely be like, oh, it's building up to the twist that he's crazy. Like if we never saw him leave. The fact that we constantly see it leave, you get like, oh no, it's real, and Bob's the only person who sees it.
Yeah, and it adds the tension of like, one of the big questions that you leave throughout this episode is, could if it hadn't moved, could anyone actually see this gremlin, or is Bob literally the only physically person who can see it?
Yeah, he even brings it up. The flight attendant kind of gives him this look like, okay, which I mean, in fairness, you would too.
Yeah.
And we get a really good monologue to his wife, and he basically says, he literally says just that, among many other things, but he literally says, it won't let anyone see it except me. It's chosen me for some reason.
And there's that element of like, maybe because it doesn't investigate what the gremlin is, what the creature is, but it's a possibility of, and we don't even know if somehow it is an effect of his earlier mental breakdown. Was something wrong with the plane that he didn't see the gremlin, but was it something that maybe was being messed with the plane that he didn't understand? Like, there's a lot of, without telling you stuff, there's a lot of fun things you could theorize and think about in this episode, and because it is so effective at telling you what you need to know, but leaves so much room for different thoughts in it.
There's so many great examples in this of fantastic just facial acting without even like saying who's the actress who plays his wife?
Oh, I looked it up and I forgot her name. Christine White.
Christine White. Her and Shatner are so great at saying everything with their face, like saying like even in like this point that you're talking, like when Shatner's like he's saying all this out in his face, he is realizing like, nobody is going to believe me.
Yeah.
And he says it all with his...
He realizes, I sound fucking nuts. Yeah. And his wife is giving, again, bring on to what Mason said, his wife is giving a look like, God damn it, I don't want to lose you again.
And it's also that element of like, not again, which again, his plea, he's like, I know what we've been through. I know what I've done. I know what's there. I need you though. And there's that element of like, you would like him pleading to a stranger or him not being able to do this. I think it adds look, if you wanted to tell more of like, is it real or is it not, you don't have the wife, and maybe that's why the short story. But I think to be able to sell this character, the wife enhances it in realism for me. The character feels more real, even if it maybe takes away from the is it real or is it not of the gremlin.
Her best bit of facial acting though is the first when Bob is like first telling her about this, when the camera immediately cuts to her with her face of like, what are you saying? Like that cut was so
good. Like what the hell is coming out
exactly.
of your mouth?
Like, and she doesn't say a word in that moment, and you can tell exactly how she's feeling and what she's feeling.
So he is able to convince his wife. He said, "You need to tell them. Please tell them. They're not going to. They're not. I didn't smack my mic. I'm so excited to talk about Twilight Zone. He's like, you need to tell them. They're not going to believe me. They're not going to believe me. I already know that they're not going to believe me. Because I know I sound crazy. But I need to talk to the flight engineer. You have to tell them."
Yeah, and again, credit to his wife. She does love him enough to where she's like, okay.
I'm going to do this.
Yep, and of course, as soon as she leaves, the gremlin comes back, which you gotta imagine Bob's like, motherfucker!
He doesn't just come back, he comes back in the most I'm Mary Poppins y'all way.
He does. He just kind of
floats right back down.
And then when he needs to leave, he floats back our way. It's
again.
Because at this point, he is sabotaging the wing. And that is when he wakes up his mind. Because when it's just on the wing, there's a lot of him, like, worried and nervous about all of it. But when he feels like he is... and part of him, why he's saying, he's like, you know how I know it's real? Because he is messing with this plane. That's how I know it's real.
And again, it's something that, again, I think it's a good thing to put us in Bob's shoes. He's messing with this wing. He's like, I'm not just worried about it freaking me out. People are gonna die. Like,
which lead us to, I think, my favorite interaction, which is with the flight engineer.
And yes. I think I think Shatner's best acting in this.
It's
episode.
so good
I
because
agree.
he's there, and the flight engineer basically is like, "This is a crazy person, but I'm not gonna." First he's like, "Please don't just elaborate," and then the flight engineer lies.
He starts like trying to like play
With it.
God.
No, we've seen it.
We've seen
and this
it,
is
we
where
just-
the
we
great
can't
thing of
say
Shatner's
it.
acting. He's like, "You've seen," and there's two things that could be playing to this, and either one works. One, he's just like, "Oh, you're lying to me," so I get it. Two is, this is the other thing that I was thinking on there is, you've seen it, and yet you're doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. That's the thing is when Shatner's face just changes and everything goes.
when he just drops it.
Yeah, it's again.
I understand. No, you're right.
I think Shatner's best acting in this episode is the flight attendant's like, well, yeah, we've seen it, but we don't want to freak people out. Of course I don't. And the music kicks on, and his face just drops, and he's instantly like,
Change.
I understand.
Yeah.
It's again, it's one of those things where it's like when William Shatner acts, I genuinely think he's like one of the best. Like 60s to, I'll say, Star Trek 6. William Shatner is genuinely a phenomenal
Performance
actor.
out of me because I love me so much.
But yeah, you're
Yeah, Star Trek 6 William Shatner, ignoring 5 William Shatner.
the one directed by Bill Shatner.
I say that, Shatner's probably the best performance in that movie, but it's because he's the one fucking making it. So.
Because he's only like, yes, me. We've spent way too much time looking at Leonard the last few movies. It's time for the real star, even more. You've been the main character for the last three. I want more of me.
You've been the main character for the past 60 years of the show.
What's that we said about Shatner being an easy target? Anyways.
It's really easy.
It is really easy, but
goddammit.
also we got to give him his kudos because he is a good actor, and I think
Absolutely.
that's some of the.
when he earns his kudos, he earns his fucking kudos.
But that actually, leaving the episode for just a second to just because I want to just briefly talk about this. There is a lot of the easy target actors that we there usually are actually good actors. It's just that they a lot of times fall into their caricatures. Arnold Schwarzenegger, for example.
Arnold, Nicolas Cage.
Mm-hmm. Up until modern, really, up until about 2012, Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah.
No, because he still did Creed. Sylvester Stallone, I'm just going to throw it in there.
2018, I
Yeah.
guess. Wait, when did Creed 2 come out, damn it? Was that 2019?
I think that's right.
2020.
Yeah.
Stallone.
But a lot of those are easy targets because
Johnson.
they've been very good in their role, what they do, and they kind of become the characters of them. And so they aren't, you say the Dwayne Johnson, Ryan Reynolds effect of things like when you end up just playing what you're expected to play.
Yeah, there are actors that are easy targets, but they're an easy target because there's a lot of like, God damn it, you can do more.
And sometimes the Shatner is like, because of just a lot of his things, it's funny. It's it's easy to make fun of because he
Shatner,
also leans into the bit.
I was gonna say, Shatner is an egotist in real life, like
very
head and
much.
shoulders. But it is one of those things where he's a damn good actor, and when it shows, it really shows.
So anyway, after that,
Off
back to the episode. He agrees to take the heavy duty sleeping pill.
Yep.
We've doubled the dosage. We normally I made
Brings
the
it
joke,
in.
We
He
usually
takes
give
it.
this to elephants.
The stewardess is like, "So he took the pill? Yep. He'll be out for hours," says the flight engineer.
Yep. But he faked taking the pill.
He faked it, which somebody goes, "You've been doing this before. This is not a man who just learned how to fake a pill. You've been doing this. What has those 6 months actually been doing? What has happened in that?"
Makes me think that, like, what did he do to get out for only 6 months?
I've been taking my medication and a good boy this whole time.
Makes me think he should have been in there longer.
Reminds me of Misery of all things. How he fakes taking the pills and like hides them in his bed in that movie. They should do Misery anyway. No.
And so he sees him sabotaging the wing again, and he's like, gotta do something. He turns around. What's that? Ah, yes. America. Gun.
Say that, and it's a very Canadian looking.
So he looks like a Mountie.
This is where shit gets cranked up to
This is what
11 for me.
Mason went, what?
Yeah,
This is where I started going, oh no, oh
Yeah,
god, oh no.
Yeah, it figures because it's the climax of the episode.
And we've multiple times seen that he is sitting by the emergency window.
Yep.
Right.
Bob asks his wife, "Hey, please give me a glass of water. Just please, I'm parched.
He's like,
And it'll help me sleep. Okay, she gets up. We get a very quick, like, little stealth scene of him stealing the gun. And then he slowly starts taking the plastic off the emergency escape.
he tightens his seatbelt.
Yep, tightens that motherfucker down. And he opens the emergency window and immediately gets sucked the fuck out. Yeah,
And he's got 6 shots and he ain't gonna waste a single.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite bits. If you look at it, because again, he tightens the belt around his waist like nothing else. But if you look, it still like loosens a little bit, and you see it's like around his knees. So I think that was like unintentional, but it works.
It's very effective.
And obviously, everyone on the plane, his poor wife is probably having a heart attack. This poor woman.
Again, this is worse. We're in the sky, Bob.
Yep.
See, if that was me in that situation, I would have fucking fainted.
Yep. Which I said I wasn't going to bring up the movie, but this is one of the big differences. In the movie, Bob fails. He does not kill the gremlin. The gremlin, he misses every shot. The gremlin comes up, caresses his face, and then flies away. In this, and in my opinion, the better ending, Bob kills the gremlin. He nails him with basically almost every shot of the revolver, which, what a fucking shot, by the way. In the air, going that fast, and you nail almost every shot. Bob, what did you do in a past life?
What were you learning in that sanatorium? You weren't
Cruise
taking
is
pills?
looking at this like,
I can do that.
I can do it.
He not only is not taking pills in the sanatorium, was he just like sneaking out for shooting practice? Because he's a salesman. His job is a salesman.
He's a salesman. When did he learn to do this shit?
What you don't know is that what he sells is guns.
What he sells is death. He's a hitman.
He has a very particular set of skills.
Yep. We get a wonderful zoom in on Shatner's face as he screams, because you would scream too.
Oh yeah, Shatner screams.
Now, in that situation, I wouldn't scream, I'd pass out.
If you're casting Bill Shatner, you better believe he is going to scream.
Yep.
Come on!
Anyways.
One of my favorite... A very unintentionally funny thing is, we fade back into the plane has landed. The Mountie-looking asshole puts his hat back on, because I'm guessing it's like a state trooper or something. But that's definitely his gun that Shatner just used to kill the gremlin. And we get a very unintentionally look on Bob's face that's just, fuck. I'm here again.
I bet you're wondering how I got here. And he goes out. His wife doesn't. He's like, honey, we're gonna figure this out. I love you. It's there. Yeah. And he has the great line. I know. I'm the only one who knows, but soon they will realize.
Yep. And he lays back down. And then Rod Sterling exits out with us, basically telling that exact same thing. I forget the exact line. It's great because almost everything Rod Sterling said was great.
Yeah.
But he basically says, like, Bob will go back to the sanatorium, but soon they will all know the truth. For even corporeous beings like that gremlin can leave physical evidence, and it shows the wing is just torn to fucking shit. Which implies that they're going to be searching that plane. They're like, hey, this thing's torn apart. Oh shit! Like that Bob guy wasn't nuts.
He was telling the truth.
Great, now I have guilt.
This leads to me like the idea again, like where it leads, but like a lot of me afterwards is like, if they did an investigation, they're covering that shit up. Bob's never getting out. They covering that shit up.
They're probably.
They're never gonna let them know that a gremlin was on a plane. They covering that shit up.
Yeah, but it's Twilight Zone.
I know. Oh no.
So it's slightly exaggerated reality, meaning we can be competent.
Oh yeah, and I know all the Twilight Zones end with narration. And I talked about how great the opening narration. I do think the ending narration actually kind of hinders some of the like actual effect of this. I kind of wish it just lingered on the plane wing. No real dialogue. But again, it's a Twilight Zone episode. It always ends with narration. So I know.
I don't mind it, but again, I feel like it was just kind of like we kind of need to clarify, no, Bob's going to be okay.
Yeah.
We followed this guy for 25 minutes of him suffering and throwing himself out of a plane. We got to clarify to the audience he's going to be fine.
Yeah, and I think if I were doing like a longer version of this and things like that, that my ending would just be like outside Twilight Zone would be just it slowly fades on that he was right. Like you can tell the wings, it's all destroyed. Everything, he was right.
Yeah, I mean I do agree, but again,
I'm not saying it's necessarily bad. It's just I think there are ways to make it a little more effective.
Yeah, maybe hold on it for a little longer and then go into the narration.
Some form of narration into black, whatever. But again, all Twilight Zone episodes are that way. So it's like, I'm going to complain about something that happens in every episode and we're in season 5? No. So, like, it's just one that it comes with kind of the show that they made. Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's a Twilight Zone episode.
There it is.
Mason has watched one now.
I have.
I made Mason watch something in black and white.
I know, Mason watched something in black and white.
I have seen the Twilight.
Which... Look. At this point, we have not watched something modern. At all.
We haven't watched anything from the
2000s. Wishbone is the most modern, and it's, 97?
I was going to say, it's 97.
Dress Horror is the 90s. So we have made Mason step out of Mason's comfort zone here and watch older shit.
Now, don't worry, I put newer things on there, so we'll get back to it, but
it is very interesting.
You put one newer thing on there.
Whatever. It's there.
Oh, no. When did that episode come out? Anyway.
Yeah, we got some more money. Again, we got a lot of fun stuff, but it is cool that, like, so far everything has been kind of a little bit older. Which is very fun to push Mason, who only thinks things came out in 2000 and nothing else.
It really is only one modern thing. I've actually put more modern stuff on there than Mason, because that's 2 of mine from after 2000.
Oh, wow. Anyway.
It's amazing.
Been hanging out with you assholes too long. I'm kidding.
You're getting cultured, bitch.
You're learning.
I'm learning.
Oh, you sure are, buddy. Oh, way to go, Ralph. That's the line.
What can we take away from this, guys?
I took the lead on the last one.
I'll be pretty simple. I think we kind of brought it up earlier, but like, sure, we make fun of actors, but there's a reason. Like, they're good as fuck. Like, when they nail a role, they really nail a role.
Absolutely.
And anyone is capable of it. Like, any actor is capable of giving a great performance. Some of it, circumstances and things like that, but any of the,
Yeah, people have made fun of Dwayne Johnson for years, but the Smashing Machine just came out, and people are like, oh shit, this guy can act.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's just, some of the caricatures and the commercialization even more of modern cinema and things has made sometimes some of the acting feel more and more like, are you actually doing anything, or are you just playing to sell stuff?
Yeah, and it's, part of, like, the ego kind of plays. And,
I'll
say especially, not, like, it depends on the person, but I'd say, especially in Shatner's case.
Yes.
Yeah, how much are you willing to play a role versus playing yourself in a role?
Exactly.
Which, again, I'm a big Shatner fan. I like a lot of Shatner. Well, as an actor, not always as a person.
Yeah.
Sometimes as a person, it's kind of up and down. But old man Shatner. Anyway, not important.
Right.
But Shatner, when he really does embody roles, he takes on those roles and he does a great job, and he is a good actor. When he's playing, William Shatner as blank, it isn't necessarily bad, but you can tell it's more of like, oh, I know you're here a little more of a paycheck.
You're here for the bit.
Yeah,
exactly.
But
so the thing that I had, and this is
Mason's is the 1960s are actually good.
Well, it's a little similar to what
I could have gotten how much weed.
But a little similar to what I said about the Raven thing from the Treehouse of Horror that we've also watched today is the having it all take place in one setting,
single setting and stuff,
in one room is really, really cool to me. And it's something that you still can still see nowadays. Like the newest one that I can think of is the Brie Larson room. I think.
That was
like
and there are single setting. A lot of times the problem with single setting.
Oh wait, Lighthouse. I forgot about Lighthouse.
Single setting things is a lot of times the third act breaks the single setting.
Yeah.
It's why Phone Booth is so good.
Right.
Or like
because it doesn't ever break the setting.
Yeah. Or like a Bullet Train is also kind of like.
Yeah, you break up the setting in the end. With a lot of stuff.
Hey, to be fair, that literally breaks it up for like the last 10 minutes.
Yeah. I don't even necessarily think breaking up the setting is a bad thing, but it does sometimes change the movie a bit.
Single setting things are always a great thing for me. I am always interested in single setting stories.
Especially for thrillers and horror, I think.
Yeah.
But also action, I think, does well,
well, we've talked about like how you and I both like The Commuter with Liam Neeson or Nonstop, the one with him on the plane.
It's an interesting thing that can bring out like the most out of art is like self-imposed limitations. And the single setting story really adds.
Especially when you're a TV show and you're probably one camera.
Yeah.
You're probably you don't have money. You're probably mostly on a soundstage. You have those limitations. It is. Absolutely, it can be very, very effective. I think we need to get Mason watching some Hitchcock. I think at this point, I think I need to get Mason some Hitchcock because I think you're going to actually be like, oh.
Ironically, my favorite Hitchcock is not a single story, but anyway.
But again,
he does do a lot of them.
He does a lot of them because again, Hitchcock didn't stick to one style or one anything.
Yeah.
That motherfucker made North by Northwest and Psycho.
Yeah,
he's got range or had range, whatever.
Yep. If only he treated actresses better.
Ha! What do you mean he didn't treat actresses?
You just throw dead things
Hi,
on
Stanley
him.
Kubrick.
Yeah. Woo!
Woo boy.
Anyway, off that. Mine is pretty simple. Camera work is really effective. And I mentioned there, being able to utilize a camera can tell your story more than any dialogue, more than anything else. You can convey everything with very, very good camera work. And I think it elevates this. It elevates this as just the way they utilize the camera, the way they tell the story, the way the way the insanity can be played up with the camera, the way realism, the way everything is in that limitations, in that one setting. Like that camera doesn't move very much. It is in front of the seat or slightly above the seat. Like it is impressive what they do with it, and without moving it very much. And I think it sometimes gets forgotten, especially in the modern CGI-filled, we'll fix that, or we'll move that around, or that camera, a lot of times, that camera is a digital camera, it's set up,
so it's like, and it's, sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to, and a lot more modern stuff, the camera's also mostly, constantly moving, where this does a lot more of, the static camera. I don't think there's a shot where the camera moves.
Cinematography is important, even if it's simple cinematography and placement, things like that. But I think of things like The Batman, which didn't use green screen but used a different technology, but still to keep cinematography. I think of modern today with recently this year with The Sinners, with the way Ryan Coogler used the giant ass IMAX camera, but used it into intimate settings to convey things. Camera work is really, really, really important, and it sometimes gets forgotten when we're discussing it because a lot of times I don't want to say the marvelization, but sometimes with big CGI green screen stuff where we'll fix that later. Oh, we're all on one stage here and we're doing this and it's all that's all fixed or that's all done. Sometimes the camera work can get forgotten. And it can good cinematography, good camera work can improve directors. I think an improvement of Nolan film looks is Dark Knight when he started using more wide stuff because he had to, because he was using big ass IMAX cameras. Michael Bay with Ambulance using the drones enhances the camera work from it because he had something different and doing something. You can change the way while keeping your style, and I think I don't know. I didn't look up necessarily who did some of the cinematography and work on this, but you had Donner as the director and a lot of the vision in there, and it just works so well. And camera work is just so important, and I want to highlight that because it was something I watched and so I was like, wow, that just blows me away in parts.
Camera work is, I think, kind of both with movies and video games are kind of the unsung heroes. So
100%. Yeah. Twilight Zone.
Woohoo.
One of I wouldn't say it's like one of like Thomas's huge fixations, but it's definitely one that Thomas brings up.
It's definitely one I like a lot.
And it's great. I ever since like you had like I watched a bunch of Twilight Zone when you watched the movie a while.
I was gonna say I watched the movie because there was a YouTube channel I watched that literally had like several Octobers in a row dedicated to Twilight Zone. So I was like, shit.
And it was one where I was like, I really would love Twilight Zone episodes are fun to talk about because they're just so interesting because of what even the bad ones are interesting because of what they're trying to say, what they're trying to do, even if they fail.
You can watch the one starring Lucille Ball. It's apparently bad, but
yeah,
What?
yeah.
Oh my god.
But yeah.
Twilight Zone isn't just horror; it did a lot of comedy.
Oh no, it did a lot. They did
wow.
everything, and so I said it. We talk a lot about like the thrillers or the horror or how it impacted sci-fi, thriller, horror, but it impacted all types of things because they tried everything because it was a show that could do anything, which is very unique because you don't see that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What do you guys think? What's your favorite Twilight Zone episode? Let us know. Drop us an email. bleepyouplaying@gmail.com. That's bleepyouplaying@gmail.com. Maybe you've watched the 2019 Twilight Zone. Let us know what you think of that if you do. I would love to hear some people talking about that.
Because I've never heard anything.
Yeah, I've heard very few positives on it, and I kind of just stayed away from it because of that. Yeah. Or if you'd really like to support us, we have a Patreon. Patreon.com/whatthebleep. We have a bunch of tiers, different things. At base level, $3, you get all of our stuff. But if you want to do more, you can be a super bleep head. And, suggest stuff for us to play or watch, and we'll record episodes on it. Yeah. And as we continue this wonderful Halloween extravaganza that we kind of got going on, culminating on Halloween night when we are going to stream live over on Twitch, it is going to be awesome, and we are building towards this awesome month. This has been really fun that we've gotten actually this many things recorded for a month. So thank you all for listening, and we'll be back with more spookiness next time.
Woo.